Hello, welcome to a training from Navigating Change. So tell me, are you confused on what should happen once your youth turns 18? Do you understand the difference between Tailor Day and a day program? Well, let me tell you, my name is Elvia Diaz, and I am a family transition specialist for Navigating Change program at the San Diego State University. So I am a mother of a 20-year-old son with autism, and I understand how confusing this decision can be. So today we are going to talk about the differences between day program and Tailor Day. This is a very important decision, and you need to have the background so you can make informed decisions. Okay. So, the purpose of this presentation is to help you understand what adult day service options are available for your youth and how they work. What is the difference between a day program and a tailored day services, and which is the best fit for your youth? And most importantly, also, how can you effectively advocate for your youth during the IPP, which is Individual Program Planning meeting, and what support will help your youth build independence and move toward potentially employment. So let's understand this. What are transition age youth? Okay. Technically speaking, we consider transition age youth from ages 18 to 26. And in this case, is youth with developmental disabilities. Okay, so transitioning from school-based services to adult services. That means that once the school district is no longer responsible for the education of your youth, then they are part of the adult services. Okay, so the services shift from the education system to now the regional center. I am in San Diego County, so in my case, is San Diego Regional Center. So, and of course, the planning should begin before exiting the high school or maybe ATP programs. ATP is adult transition programs. Once you have met with your advisors at the school and in an IEP, before you decide whether your youth should receive a diploma and graduate from high school or continue services in the adult transition program, which typically can be from up to 21 or 22 years of age. So often the youth receive more help so they can transition faster. So that's the ATP programs. So it depends on your district, how they are being offered. And oftentimes the ATP services, the adult transition programs, can connect you with workability to see if your youth can work part-time and receive some work experience. And they will also connect you with DOR. What is DOR? I'll tell you in a minute. So let's talk about the regional center. The regional center is key. They are your best advocate. Okay, so it's very important. If you are not a client of the regional center yet, it is very important that you register because the intake can take a while. And of course, there's a waiting list. So you need to start registering in case you are not regional center client yet. So in my case, I live in the San Diego area, so we have the San Diego Regional Center. Other places, well, they have different counties. So they coordinate services through the individual program planning, which is at the school. And then they transition to individual planning program. So at the school, your youth has individual education program. But once they go to the adult services, it changes to individual planning program. Okay. And of course, the regional center helps fund approved vendors to get the service providers. Okay. And they help support employment and the independence and community inclusion. Obviously depends on the needs of each individual. So they work directly with the family and adults to choose the appropriate services. So in order to understand this, we are going to imagine that let's have a 1, 2, 3, okay? So we're going to say that I'm very familiar with this. Obviously, it depends on this disability and the kind of support that your youth needs. But let's say in the case of autism, we have sometimes it's level 1, which they require help, but are potentially in some areas independent. And number 3, that they need a lot of support. So if we use this across any disability, sometimes they will consider what level of support your youth needs, and that's how you need to decide. So we are going to talk about directly on the traditional day program services, okay? These day programs are aimed for youth and adults who need more support. Let's say a level 2 or level 3. So the typically characteristics are fixed day schedules, and they have group-based activities, and they have site-based programs, and of course they have focus on life skills and recreation. So they still teach them basic life skills depending on the program. And one of the most important benefits is that they're very consistent, and they have social interaction, and they have structured routine. On the other hand, we have Tailor Day Services. The Tailor Day Services is individualized services designed around the person's interest. Okay, so the key features of these is they have a person-centered planning. They sit with you and your youth, and they help you create, according to their interest, what best program will be fit for them. Okay, and then the community-based activities, of course, and they have flexible schedule, and they will have a 1-on-1 small support ratios, and they focus on potential independence and for employment. So this is, let's say, we are considering a maybe, and this is your service coordinator is the one best to explain this. But for the sake of understanding, we're going to say that this is for 1.5 level of support that they need. But something very important to consider is that they have an hour cap. Because say, for instance, that you need someone to help you at the school. Well, they are there to support, but it's not an all-day thing. That's very important to understand. So depending on the level of support your youth needs, they decide on how many hours, but it's not an all day. So important then is that to understand this, we have a day program. It's a group-based, and it's a structure, and they are site-focused. And Tailor Day Services, they have individualized plans, and they do try to have the community integration, and they do exploring unemployment and, of course, flexible activities. So it is very important once you decide your service coordinator is going to give you options, and you need to, from those options, depending on the region that you are, you need to be able to ask the proper questions. Here are some suggestions that you can use, okay? You can ask the staff to participant ratio. So that will depend on the level of support that your youth needs. Usually, when you apply to one of those day programs, the vendors are going to connect with your service coordinator, and the service coordinator is going to send something that is called the collateral package. This collateral package contains all the information for your youth. So they study that, and then they decide how much support your youth will need. Is it a 1-to-1 or 1-to-3 or 1-to-5 ratio? It all depends, okay? So that's why you also need to ask that and before you apply. And of course, you need to ask, if the activities are individualized in the case of Tailor Day, or if the day programs have individualized services also. And you want to know how much time is spent in the community, because if you are interested on your youth being in one place, or if you're also interested on them being at different sites. And oftentimes they offer employment opportunities. You need to ask that. And, how are social skills supported? Are personal interests included? Like in case of my son likes music. And some of the day programs offer just music areas, or maybe they can find music classes. So it depends on the program that you're applying for. Is transportation training provided? Often, like if you are applying for Tailor Day, maybe they will ask your youth to be able to take the bus home, because again, they need a certain level of independence. So part of the training is to help them understand how the train or the bus work. So you need to ask that. And what experience does the staff have on the specific need? In my case, my son with autism, so I wanted to ask, do they have experience with autism? And also, can I go and do trial visits? Because, maybe I go and I like it, but I need to make sure that my son is comfortable there. And of course, you need to apply. Okay. And often they have waiting lists. So it's not something that you do here today and you will be accepted tomorrow. It is very important that you do your research ahead of time. So a very important advocacy tip is that you need to tour multiple vendors before choosing. This is a very, very difficult decision, but we are talking about the future of your youth and how they can still unlock their potential. So you need to ask for detailed questions during your visit. You need to know the strengths. I prepared a resume for my son, and besides the collateral package, when I go and apply, I take the resume so that they know his strengths and see if they can include that. Okay. And of course, you need to know ahead of time with your service coordinator what the IPP, Individualized Planning Program, contains, so that they align with their planning. And of course, you need to ask how they are going to collaborate with your service coordinator. So you need to be a team, the vendor, the service coordinator, and yourself. So in my case, I live in the North County. So I went ahead and asked my service coordinator, and I researched some. So these are in the top vendors in North County. So you can ask and find what are the most important vendors given your son's or your youth circumstance. Okay, what is their interest? So in my case, these are examples of what I have, and the different models of the services that they need. So often they have this, for example, only offers day program. So I need to check if they have, I went and visit, so we're in the process, and it's very, very tiresome. So prepare yourselves. And for example, acrylic industries, they only have Tailor Day programs. They don't have day programs. So they need to make sure that your youth is fit for their for the kind of support that they can have. And of course, there's Arco San Diego, and they offer day programs as well as Tailor Day. So you can ask for them. And there is the Eastern Eagles, South California. So they are mainly adult day programs again. And so you can talk to the people. We have on the description of this video, we're going to give you the links in case that you are in the North County, okay? So the additional important information is that you can also connect with the Department of Rehabilitation. Remember the question I said at the beginning, what is DOR? Well, they are Department of Rehabilitation. And in my case, I contact Autism Society of San Diego because my son's disability is intellectual disability and autism. So community recreation programs and community college disability programs. Oftentimes, if you feel that your youth can pursue a college education, well, very often the college will have programs for disability, so you can contact them as well and ask your service coordinator. So what we want at the end of the day is to make sure that every young adult can develop their unique strengths and interests. They have many similarities, but they're individuals who need to flourish. So they're with the right support, your youth needs to be able to build as much independence as possible. They need to find their meaningful work, be able to find friendship, and of course, live a fulfilling adult life. And I'd like to leave you with this message that I love, and I'd like you to think about this. The meaning of our life is to find our gift. And the purpose of our life is to share it. This is by Paolo Picasso. So I hope this helped you on your decision, and all the best. So please remember, if you need to contact us on the webpage.